Insiders. Welcome to another wonderful week. I hope everybody had a wonderful, fun, safe Halloween. I know that my kids were stoked, as I'm sure just about every kid in the country was. The night before Halloween, I put them to bed and they were just giddy with excitement. So Halloween was a ton of fun. We did pumpkin carving. We went trick-or-treating. Ethan was Commander Rex from Star Wars, and Brooklyn was Princess. Actually, funny story, Brooklyn was supposed to be a poodle, and we have a costume for a poodle, and then she realized that the poodle was not nearly as cute as, or girly, I guess, as the princess. So we had to pull a dress out of the box, and she became a princess. Kind of doesn't matter because they're wearing coats anyway at night. Nobody can hardly tell what they are. And then at the very end, we went to a friend's house and had a chili feed and watched the World Series, and it was a ton of fun. So I hope you all had a wonderful time as well. Today's shout out is for Elena Kanafulski, and Elena got a shout out a couple weeks ago, and this is actually about the same property. What happened is that her seller received all of the payoff approval letters, looked through them, actually had her attorney look through them, and gave us a thumbs up and a green light to move everything toward closing. So we rushed this thing through. The buyer was, very anxious to get this closed, and literally at the closing table, the seller looks over the payoff approval and the note that she had already seen and decides that she doesn't want to sign it now. So we had a little bit of craziness there in having to renegotiate. We had to negotiate a approval letter change, and we had to negotiate the note completely off, which both were a little bit challenging to do, especially when you're right at closing and the buyer's rate lock is expiring and everybody's pushing to get this thing done and freaking out. But I wanted to give the shout out to Elena because she was able to keep everything together, pull everyone in, and kept the buyers from totally flaking and walking away. And we closed it and funded it, and everything's done now. So congratulations, Elena. Good job on keeping this thing together, and thank you for your hard work. So today, our main core subject, and I should mention, if you hear any clicking in the background, it's not a problem with your video. Jessica's in the background doing some work on her computer, so don't worry about that. But our core concept and subject matter that I want to talk about today is commissions, and I specifically want to talk about problems with commissions, or agents that are getting commissions cut, not because of the bank, but honestly because of them and the way that they're positioning their paperwork. Now what we're going to do is, this is module 4 here, we're going to zoom into a concept that we go over in great detail here in module 4 in the advanced strategies section. So if you have the DVD of the training, you may want to pull that out, go in there, especially if you've got a property that you're looking at getting an offer in on soon, and make sure you understand this concept, because if you don't, it doesn't matter how much effort and energy that we put into negotiating for a full commission for you. If you don't do the paperwork correctly, if you don't set yourself up for success, then you're gonna get that hacked. So let's dive in here. I got a few numbers here on some papers. These are going to be my props. Maybe get them in the right order for you. Okay, we've got 5. I'm going to come back and tell you what these are all about in a minute. 4 and 3. These are percentages of commission. Now, many of you ask for a 6% commission when you list a property, and in a large majority of your transactions, we are able to get you a 6%. There are some lenders out there that cap their commissions no matter how many agents or any details about the transaction. They cap it at 5%. Washington Mutual is one of those lenders, unless, of course, Fannie Mae is the investor. So if Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac are the investor, then you will always get a 6% commission, because that's the policy that they have set forth. If you are confused on that, or you think that that it's against the law for you to get anything less than a 6% commission, then you need to go back and watch some of my other videos where I go into the question about it being against the law. But it's not against the law, it's just against Fannie Mae policy, and if the investor is not Fannie Mae, then there are no rules that say they have to pay you 6%. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about 5%. 5% is when there are two agents with two separate offices. Two agents, two brokers. 4%. 4% is when there are two agents in one office. I'm going to say that again and re-emphasize this. Two agents with one office. It is standard for many banks to reduce commissions to 4%. Make a note of that. We'll come back to that in a second. 3%. 3% is when there is one agent, obviously in one office. Let's talk about some strategy here. And again, go back to your DVD and watch the advanced strategies section on commissions because we go into great detail and we have a lot of dialogue around it. But for the quickness of this video, let's go into some basic strategy. If you have two agents in two different offices, you're going to get 5% or in many cases 6%, but we're going to use the 5-4-3 formula right now. You're going to get that 5% commission. If you have two agents in the same office, so an agent down the hallway from you brings a buyer on your property, even though you are two different cost centers, two different agents that are getting paid or not paid on this transaction, the bank looks at it from the perspective of the office. The bank says there's one broker, and therefore we are going to reduce the commission because of that. Obviously, if there's one agent, then there's going to be only one broker, and they're going to whack your commission considerably. So, how do we prevent this? One of the strategies, and I'm going to pull this out for you, write it down. You need to make sure you always have two agents and two brokers, or two offices on your purchase and sale contracts. If you don't, then you're at high risk of your commission being reduced. Now, we're always going to fight for that commission, but as I said in my email, you need to help us help you. Don't just expect that we're going to get you a full commission if you've got you and then another agent down the hall as the two agents on the property. There is a high likelihood you're going to get a 4% commission only. And if you're okay with that, then great. Then just go ahead and send that offer in. Here's what you need to do. If you have another agent in your office, or if you are a dual agent, and we did an excellent interview with Keith Riddle the other day, where he talked about several properties that he was able to get both sides of the commission on, and it was because of this strategy and the implementation of this strategy he was able to do it. Because remember, one agent, one office, that's a big 3, but he was able to get 6 on 2 different transactions because of the way he implemented this. Get another agent to be on the other side. If that means that you have someone in another office that you know or have a relationship with, find out if you can get them to do some sort of referral. Maybe for a small fee, they will be on the purchase and sale contract as a referral, so that you pay them a very small referral fee because you're going to do all the work still, right? It's your buyer, your seller, or however you structure it or whatever the situation is. Make sure you get another party on that transaction. It is worth the extra effort to do that, because if you're even on a $100,000 house, 1 point is $1,000. If you give somebody $500 for that, that's basically an extra free $500 that's going to go into your pocket. And perhaps you want to take the risk and see if we can get the full commission without that other party. But I'm warning you now that if you do that, there's a high likelihood that it's not going to go through. Okay, let's move on. Closing costs. If you have a buyer asking for closing costs, your commission is going to get reduced. It is better for you to counter that buyer back at a lower purchase price and get them to remove their closing costs, so it's a net change of nothing to the buyer. The buyer still gets the same deal, but then we have a stronger leg to stand on for your commissions. I'll say this, if they're going to ask for over 3% closing costs, I don't care if their loan product will do it all day long, don't even send that offer into the office, because the bank is going to reject it, period, end of story. They're not going to pay any more than 3% in closing costs, so don't even waste your time and pull your property off the market in that situation. But again, I understand that there are certain situations that you that the buyer absolutely has to have those costs, and in those situations we are going to work with you to do our best to get you as full a commission as we possibly can. But just be prepared. If you're sending in offers that have buyer closing costs on them, that there is going to be a very, very high likelihood that the commissions are going to get reduced when everything is said and done. So one last quick thing is the timing. If you get an offer in and the buyer signs it on day one, but your seller doesn't get it back to you signed for 2 weeks, and then you send it into our office to negotiate, even though that offer has been in play for 2 weeks, technically day one is when we get it to start processing it with the bank. So make sure you position your buyers correctly, that that 2 weeks has expired and nothing has happened. Otherwise they're going to get frustrated. All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.